In this video, I'm taking you on a tour of a very big hotel,
like a small city's worth of indoor space,
priced for budget travelers.
A lot of value in this $30 idea.
In the city of Bangkok, Thailand.
All 700 rooms have some kind of view of Bangkok.
It's an oldie,
Function, not fashion.
but a goodie.
Ah, the life.
It is
Your private pool oasis.
the Prince Palace Hotel.
Let's just say it has a funky charm that could be the setting for the next Wes Anderson movie. Have no fear, that is not the Prince Palace. That big pink building is one of the 4 32-story towers that make up the Prince Palace Hotel. It is big and it is old. With 700 guest rooms, it was built in 1955, and it is the worse for wear, as we will see, which is why it sells at a discount. The hotel reminds me of an aging supermodel that a friend of mine in Los Angeles used to sleep with. She was one of the original women to ever be called a supermodel, meaning that she was getting very on in age. You could still see the beauty in her bone structure, but no amount of cosmetics or cosmetic surgery, and boy did she try, was going to restore her youthful look. And my friend, he was no Prince Charming or international playboy. So since she traded at a discount, he got to sleep with a quote unquote supermodel. Well, this hotel is in the same boat. No amount of new paint or carpeting is going to restore its status as the belle of the ball. But for $30 a night or so, you and I can sleep with her, or sleep in it. As I did in a previous video where I booked a $30 a night studio apartment in Saigon, I'm starting the tour of this hotel out here on the street to give you a sense of the neighborhood, to show you what you will not see on the hotel's website or the booking website. Imagine you've never been to Bangkok before and you jump in a taxi at the airport, and then 40 minutes later it drops you off here and you see things like the building I showed you at the beginning of this video. There might be a little bit of shell shock. Your internal dialogue might be going like mine was when I arrived here in my taxi on Sunday. I was thinking, what kind of effing rat hole have I signed up for here? But stick with me, because once we get inside on the hotel property, there is a lot of value in this $30 idea. And over the past few days, I've met several guests who were on a return trip to the Prince Palace, even though they complained about the place on their first visit. It's kind of a devil you know better than the devil you don't idea. A place you love to hate and hate to love. And I think the guests return for 3 things. Price, of course, the amenities of a big old luxury hotel like this, and the place. This neighborhood is within 10 or 15 minute taxi or tuk-tuk striking distance to the Grand Palace, ancient Buddhist temples, and Chinatown, Bangkok's best street food. What it is not close to is Sukhumvit, Soy Cowboy, Nana Plaza, all the big nightclubs. It's about 25 or 30 minutes away from there, which is not necessarily bad if you're here for that kind of thing for a night or two, because Sukhumvit is not necessarily a neighborhood you can get a good night's sleep in. But just know that it is not close. What we are walking through here is Bobae Fashion Wholesale Market. It's a clothing wholesale market that takes up the first 4 floors of Bobae Tower, the building the hotel is in. and it spills out onto the street here. There are over 1,000 stalls, so it is quite a place. It is not a fake market. It's not where you're going to go to find a knockoff Marc Jacobs bag, or, as I've done in previous videos, fake Air Jordans or fake Adidas. But you can get some really steep bargains on basic items, jeans and t-shirts. And if you want to be a real tourist, these elephant pants. They sell here for about $3 if you want to be marked for robbery by Bangkok pickpockets. Of course, I'm not a Bangkok pickpocket, but if I were one and I saw tourists wearing those pants, I'd be thinking, oh yeah, we're eating well tonight. But just know that this market does sort of overwhelm the base of the hotel, meaning that the hotel doesn't really have a hotel property footprint out here on the street level. There is quite a bit of outdoor hotel space that is an oasis away from the bustling nature of Bangkok, but that's starts up on the 11th floor. And what we are walking towards now is the ground floor entrance to the Prince Palace, which just contains a concierge desk and a taxi stand. The actual reception desk and the first real ground floor of the hotel is up on the 11th floor, so I will see you there. Being that this hotel is as big and as inexpensive as it is, it does attract and can accommodate hundreds of tourists pouring in off of tour buses. So when you check in, or if you check in on a Sunday afternoon like I did, you can expect this reception lobby to look a little more like the Department of Motor Vehicles, with lines a dozen deep and 15 or 20 minute waiting times. But I have to say that for processing as many guests as they do and dealing with a building that is sort of on its last leg, the staff here does quite an amazing job. What we're walking through now is, I think, the sweet spot, the real value of this place. Up there is the big restaurant with the breakfast buffet, and then out here the pool area, which we'll go and check out. And I think this is what brings many guests back here to this hotel, just having this much indoor, climate-controlled indoor space and outdoor space like this pool area here in Bangkok. This is a pretty great place to watch the sunrise and sunset, and a great oasis of peace and quiet away from the city of Bangkok at the end of your day. One of the downsides of this hotel being as big as it is that it does host quite a few conferences. So during the weekdays, you could expect some elevator crowding with people in boring business attire wearing name tags. But the upshot is that you do have all this, like a small city's worth of climate-controlled indoor space, and then the big outdoor areas. Yesterday it rained, like tropical storm raining all day long, and I was basically stuck inside the hotel, but I spent half the day just exploring the market on the first 4 floors and doing my walk, doing laps around this enormous hotel property. And right now, I am walking to the health and fitness center. I won't bore you with the elevator ride. I will see you upstairs. Old school opulence is what I would call this. I imagine this place was quite something back in its heyday in maybe the late 80s. I could just picture a couple of middle-aged executives sitting there in their tennis whites and their Echelon headbands after a game of racquetball, waiting for a fax, doing a little bit of insider trading over a post-workout martini. Ah, the life. But it is quite something, this foyer for a health and fitness center and spa and hair salon. Just look at this big, grand staircase leading up to the gym and the locker rooms. And you know, something occurred to me the other day when I saw a couple of backpackers lounging out by the pool. I don't think they were guests here, but this hotel is big enough that you could kind of slip in and use the facilities all day long, should you need to. I know I may very well do that if I'm not a guest here and find myself in this part of Bangkok and just need a place to chill for a couple of hours. Like the hotel, this gym is big and old. So if you're not taking Instagram photos, if you actually want to just work out, it's pretty great, because it's a little difficult to find this side of the hotel from the main lobby area. So not a lot of people make their way here. And you know, if you don't need like shiny, brand new, high-tech, graphite black workout equipment, this place has everything you need. And on most days, you have it almost entirely to yourself. So I would put this gym definitely in the plus column. It's a really big gym for a hotel. I usually stay at nice Marriott properties, and the gyms there, sometimes they have new equipment, sometimes they don't, but they're all just like an afterthought. None of them are really big fitness clubs like this property has. So I think this is pretty cool. This is one of the sneaky passageways to get to this other pool, which is pretty great because not a lot of guests find this place. I've come to call it the private pool, sometimes my personal pool. And I've been here at a number of occasions and have never seen more than 6 other guests here with me. It looks like that's about the head count right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other people. But take a look at this Olympic-sized swimming pool. Pretty great. And yeah, 4 other people here right now. Yeah, that other pool gets super crowded, but this is a pool you can actually use for swimming, you know, if you want to swim Olympic-sized laps. And, you know, it's like your private pool oasis with a view of the city. From here, let me get to a better spot. From this pool deck, I can show you from this vantage point the 4 towers of the Prince Palace. The pink building there in the distance, and then these 3 off-white tower buildings. And what you might notice is that, you know, you see all the balconies here. All of the 700 rooms, at least according to the hotel's marketing material, all 700 rooms have some kind of view of Bangkok. because the hotel starts on the 11th floor, I think the guest rooms start at about floor 15. Everyone has some kind of bird's eye view of this city, which is a real plus here in Bangkok, because the streets can feel really claustrophobic, and after a whole day or a long party night of being in that claustrophobic city environment of Bangkok, it's really nice to have a view. So I'm going to show you mine. I'll take a tour of my room, but I will not bore you with my banter all the way back over to A Tower, the Pink Tower. I will just see you over there. So a quick tour of the room here, and the theme is function, not fashion. The marketing materials for the hotel say that it was remodeled in 2010. I have a hard time believing that these design ideas were born anytime after 1988. And I certainly do not want the CSI team in here finding out what's embedded in this carpet. But I do know that the bed linens get washed the same way they do every night as they would at the Ritz-Carlton. So that's good enough for me. I'm not here to take Instagram pictures. But I also should point out some of the rustier and rougher edges that you're likely to find should you book here, like this shower stall. Also, the plumbing tends to chatter, and the hot water damn near burned my skin off. And I can't help but find this hair dryer amusing. Still functions. Again, function, not fashion. But I just find it hard to believe that the hotel still bothers to maintain this outdated technology. Check this out. This control center here looks like a prop from the pilot episode of Star Trek. And it does function. I can control the air conditioning, the lights, and turn on the TV. I inadvertently hit the make up room button and room service showed up. So again, functional, not quite fashionable. I should mention what does not work all that great is the internet. 17 megabytes per second down and 10 megabytes per second up. That speed is not good enough for me to do certain TV jobs. I need at least twice that speed. So some remote work could not be done with the internet here at this hotel. So sure, the Prince Palace is a bit dated, and it does play host to quite an eclectic crowd. Let's just say it has a funky charm that could be the setting for the next Wes Anderson movie. And like that supermodel in LA that my friend was dating, it has a few miles left on it and offers a lot of bang for the buck. And Wes Anderson, if you're watching and end up shooting here, I want a story credit and WGA points. Swadee Khao. Subscribe and stay tuned, and I'll see you in the next one.